All right, welcome back everyone. My name is Pratesh here with Kaizen Crypto, bringing you another video. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I wanted to share with you all my thoughts on the just recently released Shelley testnet staking calculator. So what we're going to be doing today is going over some metrics that you can adjust in the instance that you're going to decide to delegate your ADA to a stake pool, or even if you're a stake pool operator who's going to be running on the Shelley mainnet. So we're taking a look at that here in this video. I'm also going to be playing you all a clip from the recently released video from IOHK's Lars Brunez, who actually does an overview talking about some of these certain parameters. So all of that is going to be here in this video, so stay tuned. Alright everyone, to get things started, if you all do find some value from this video today, please be sure to drop a like for me. It definitely does help out the channel. If you do want to stay updated with Cardano content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell also so you know exactly when I post a new video. If you do have any comments or questions about anything that we're talking about today, please be sure to let me know down in the comments section. So as far as what we're taking a look at here, this is going to be the new updated Shelley testnet staking calculator. I'll be sure to leave a link for this calculator down in the description if you do decide to check this out. What we're looking at, we can see we've got a couple options here. We can choose either to delegate your stake to a stake pool, or if you are going to be running a stake pool, you can choose that option here as well. The basic functionality of this calculator here, we've got some predetermined parameters that have been set already. This is going to give us just a basic idea as to what we can anticipate in terms of rewards. What I did want to do in this video today, almost piggybacking off of the previous video I did a couple days ago with the Shelley incentivized testnet calculator, I wanted to go further and dive into some advanced options. Now, that previous video I did was to gain an insight of what we can potentially anticipate with the rewards when we do move over to Shelley on mainnet. But with this calculator being just released today, I think we're going to have a much better understanding of what we could potentially anticipate. So let's say for the sake of this video, they've got the predetermined delegation amount if you were to delegate your ADA as 10,000. So pretty conservative. I think that's realistic. It's going to make things very easy in terms of working with a nice even number. So what we have here, this is the amount in ADA that we can choose to delegate to a stake pool. You can choose the respective currency that you'd like to see your metrics in. So in this instance, I'm just going to choose ADA. And this graph that we see here, if we scroll down just a little bit, what this does is it actually shows us the amount of rewards we can potentially anticipate for each epoch. Now what we have here on this graph, on the horizontal x-axis, we've got the epoch. On the vertical y-axis, we've got the amount in ADA. Over the course of 1 year, we will be able to anticipate 73 epochs. And with that being the case, we can see over the course of 1 year, our initial 10,000 ADA investment has turned into 10,463 approximately. So we can see here over the course of 1 year, 463 ADA would be the amount that we can anticipate. And again, this is assuming that we have not chosen a different stake pool to delegate to. None of the parameters have changed. This is remaining constant over the course of 1 year. And the delegation reward percentage would be approximately 4.6%. So that's just to give you a generalization. Let's see if we can dive in just a little bit further. I wanted to choose some advanced options. So what we can see, we've got a few more numbers to take a look at. The amount in ADA, we'll keep that the same, say maybe about 10,000 ADA. You can also choose the currency that you'd like to display the results in. In this instance here, we can also see the stake pool daily fixed fee. So this is going to be the amount in ADA that will be charged after every day to be able to maintain operation of the stake pool. So this is like a set cost that's set by the stake pool. Let's see if we can be a little bit more realistic with that fixed fee, maybe 150 ADA. And I still think that's a bit on the low end. But just for the sake of this video, let's stick with some nice even numbers. So now average transaction fees for Epoch. I was watching the video from Lars Brunez from IOHK, and he was saying that it's pretty unrealistic to have a 0 transaction fee per Epoch. That would mean that there's no transactions happening on the network. So according to him in his example, he set this number at about 1 million ADA. So let's go ahead and change this over. So 1 million is 1 followed by 6 zeros. And then stake pool operator stake. So this is talking about the form of pledge that we have for the stake pool operator. 10,000 ADA pledge, very conservative number. Let's see if we can be a little bit more realistic with that. Let's go ahead and add another 0 to that number. And what they were going for here with these metrics that we can see at the bottom. So we have the stake pool total stake. This is the amount of ADA of all the total circulating supply of ADA that is delegated to this stake pool. We have the total stake pool set at 150. Now this is going to be relative to the K parameter that was set initially. With the network, we're going to have 150 stake pools as being the number of stake pools that are going to be set at that saturation point. So let's go ahead and leave that the same. The stake pool operator rewards percentage. So that is going to be the variable fee that the stake pool operator is going to charge after each epoch in order to maintain their operation. So 3%. That's it's around about middle of the road from what I've seen on the Haskell Shelley testnet. There's definitely mixed numbers there. Let's see if we can be even more conservative. Let's go down to 2%. Stake pool performance, let's keep that at 100. So the idea of a stake pool is that you want to maintain a maximum uptime so that you're able to mint blocks when you're assigned. So we'll keep that as 100%. I think that's pretty fair. Influence factor, so this is the A0 value. They initially set this at 0.3. So this along with the K parameter at 150, I want to go ahead and leave those like how they are. I think that these numbers are going to be pretty much what we're anticipating here when Shelley is actually on mainnet. The Treasury Rate, so this right here is the percentage of gross rewards distributed to the Treasury. So it's almost like a mechanism to be able to fund the Treasury. So all the ADA that's being, released into the circulating supply, there's a percentage of that, all the rewards that are being distributed, that goes to the Treasury. And that's something that happens automatically with the mechanisms built into the protocol. Here we have an expansion rate. So this is like an inflation rate, so to speak. So the percent of reserves released per epoch. So we have the total supply and we have the available circulating supply. So this rate right here is talking about the amount of ADA that is essentially being released from the total supply into the circulating supply. So with those certain parameters, I know we didn't really do a whole lot of changing there except for really just the stake pool operator rewards percentage and even just the total stake right here. Let's see if we can adjust that. 0.4% according to this graph right here. You do want to look at the size of the stake pool in order to be able to determine the amount of rewards. As we can see at the bottom here, as we adjust this parameter, we can see that the rewards do increase up until the point where the pool gets saturated. As soon as the stake pool reaches that saturation point, the rewards start to diminish considerably. So I think that's pretty cool. I like how the calculator displays that really well. Let's choose about 0.2%. I think that's pretty realistic. That's actually a larger stake pool to a certain extent. It's about halfway between the point of being at 0% and the point where it's at saturation. So I think 0.2%, pretty realistic. Let's see if we can choose that for this example. And if we scroll down, so what we had initially was our 10,000 ADA delegated to our stake pool. And again, keep in mind, we're not changing stake pools. None of the parameters have changed over the course of the entire year. So definitely go ahead and take this with a grain of salt. These numbers are definitely subject to change. This is just an example for visual representation. But what we can see over the course of 1 year, so your 10,000 initial ADA investment to delegate to a stake pool would have turned out to be around about 10,478. Or in this instance, we're earning about 6 ADA per day by delegating to that stake pool. So very similar number to what we saw previously. I guess the biggest thing that we're going to have to pay attention to if you are delegating to a stake pool is definitely that stake pool operator rewards percentage and the amount of total stake that is delegated to the stake pool. So that's what we're looking at if you are interested in delegating to a stake pool. Really like how they've laid out the parameters for adjusting the metrics related to the stake pool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next option here. So let's say, for instance, if you are interested in running a stake pool when Shelley is live on mainnet. So now with this calculator, we can see here The pledge amount is going to be your first metric that you're looking at. The pledge is going to be amount of ADA that you're going to delegate to your own stake pool. With pledge, essentially, if you guys did watch my previous video, you all know that this is a way to be able to disincentivize attackers on the network. So with the pledge, we're going to choose, let's add another 0, because I know in the previous example we chose an amount of about 100,000 ADA. So that's what we're going to put up in the amount of pledge. And again, just an example, we'll have to pay attention to that as well. Let's see if we can keep a lot of these numbers the same. We're just trying to be as consistent as possible throughout these examples. So 150 ADA daily fixed fee. So very conservative. I think that's pretty realistic. Average transaction fees per epoch. So we'll stick with that same number, that 1 million ADA. If we scroll down just a little bit further, we can see that actually the calculator has kept those parameters constant. So that's really nice. I like how it keeps those parameters for you, so you can actually adjust and see, you know, how you're going to turn out better if you are going to decide to delegate or run your own stake pool. So very nice. I think that having a 0.2% stake pool, total stake delegated to your stake pool, pretty realistic. And as we can see here, if we do adjust this, we can see that the amount of ADA that you would earn increases up until the point where the stake pool becomes saturated. After which, once the stake pool reaches that level where it has become saturated, we can see that after a certain level, the amount of rewards are capped. So the number of ADA no longer going up, we've reached that certain threshold. So 0.2%, let's see if we can keep that the same. So we'll use that. Total stake pools, we'll set that K value at 150, we'll leave that the same as well. Stake pool operator rewards percentage. If you are a stake pool operator, keep in mind that we are running on the testnet. When we do see Shelley live on mainnet, there will be a way to adjust these parameters as time goes on. And with Voltaire, with governance, we'll be able to vote on certain issues regarding if these K parameters, if the A naught value, all of those different things, if those need to be adjusted over time. So for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and keep all of this the same. And let's take a look and see what we can potentially anticipate if you are going to be running a stake pool. Now, with this instance, we can see on this chart, it's given us our 100,000 initial ADA investment. Now, this is going to be the pledge amount that we've set for our stake pool. So if we go here over the course of 1 year, there will be approximately 73 epochs. So 365 divided by 5. We can see that over the course of 1 year, our 100,000 ADA has turned into 168,568 ADA. On a basis of each epoch, we can see we've earned approximately 880, 890 ADA. So pretty decent. You know, in the beginning, we've earned a little bit more. It's about 990 to start, and over time, those rewards gradually diminish. But still, I mean, I think that's pretty incredible. So if we take a look down at the bottom here, it shows us as well some running costs. We can see the stake pool operation rewards and the delegation rewards. So now the running costs, this is going to be an account for the fixed fee that we had set initially to actually run the stake pool. Over the course of 1 year, we'd be earning about 54,750 ADA. The stake pool operation rewards, this is based on the margin fee that we had set, so that 2% margin fee. Over the course of 1 year, the stake pool, and keep in mind this is going to be considering that none of these parameters have changed over the course of an entire year, so this is just an estimate, approximately 62,117 ADA, a yield percentage of 62%. Now that's considering that we've put in initial 100,000 ADA, so that's where we get that 62% from. And the delegation rewards, so the amount of ADA that you earn on that 100,000 just by delegating to your own stake pool, approximately 6,451 ADA. So that's about 6.45%. So pretty cool. I like how they've got all of these different metrics laid out. I do enjoy this chart as well. I think it's pretty awesome to have a visual representation like that. So now with these numbers, of course, these are all just estimates. If you are going to be running a stake pool, keep in mind that a lot of these numbers could potentially change as time goes on. So you want to make sure you're also considering the fact that if you are going to be running an instance on a bare metal server like Kaizen stake pool, you got to consider your upfront costs. If you are going to be choosing the option to run on a hosting provider such as AWS to run your server, consider also the monthly fees involved with maintaining that operation. So those are some of the things that you'd have to consider also if you are going to be running your own stake pool. So guys, that is what I have for you all here today. Hopefully you all did gain some value from this video. If you did watch my previous video, now with this new updated version of the Shelley staking calculator, I think we definitely have a better understanding of what we can potentially anticipate earning in terms of rewards when Shelley is live on mainnet. So guys, that is what I have for you here today. If you all did find some value, please be sure to drop a like for me before you go. If you do have any comments, make sure you let me know down in the comments section. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.
In the first case, delegate my stake. All you have to do is say how much ADA you want to delegate and select the currency in which you want to see the result displayed. So if we leave this on ADA and delegate 10,000 ADA, then according to the calculator, with these parameters that you now can't see, the pre-selected parameters, we would get this result. So after 1 year, you would turn your 10,000 original ADA into 10,463 ADA with these pre-selected parameters. And if you move your cursor, your mouse, over a point on this line, you see in which epoch this is. The whole year has 73 epochs. And you see your total ADA at that point and also the staking rewards you get for that epoch. And then at the bottom you see how much you got in rewards in total and how much percentage relative to the invested stake that is. Now let's see what happens if we run our own stake pool. In this case, it's a public stake pool. So we have to say how much we pledge to the stake pool. The pre-selected value is 10,000. And we have to set minimal operational costs. Let's change that to 200 ADA. And then we see that with these numbers, we would start with the initial 10,000. And after a year have 193,000. This sounds very high, and it is. And the reason for that is that the pre-selected parameters for this case are quite unrealistic. The pledge of 10,000 ADA is extremely low. The margin of 3% is very high. And it is assumed that the pool under these conditions is fully saturated. So even though the pledge is so low and the margin is so high, this pool would have to attract full saturation in delegation in order to be so successful. Now let's look at the advanced options. So if I click here, then I have much more options. So let's start again with delegation mode. So again 10,000 for variety. Let's say this time we want to see the results in US dollar. Then there's an option to enter the exchange rate, the daily operational costs. Let's make that a bit more realistic and put it to, let's say, $20. Then transaction fees. So you see the pre-selected value is 0. It means that nobody is using this system. So hopefully this will be much higher. Let's put that to 10 million ADA. Or let's say 1 million. And the stake pool operator stake in ADA, let's make that more realistic and put it to 200,000. And then here you can set how full the pool is, how much stake in total has been delegated to the pool. So by default it's set to the saturation point. So we aim for 150 pools in total. So the saturation point is 1 over 150 of the total stake. So you can leave that for the time being. This is, as I said, the number of pools we are aiming for. This is the margin that the pool operator takes. 3% is quite high, so let's set that to 1%. This is the stake pool performance. So 100% means the stake pool will produce all the blocks it can produce. So if it misses some, then this would be lower and rewards would go down accordingly. And this is the so-called Sybil attack influence factor, which in the beginning will be set to 0.3. This is the rate of rewards that goes to the Treasury, which will then later be used to fund projects for the improvement of the Cardano ecosystem. And this is the monetary expansion rate. That's the percentage of remaining reserves that will be taken each epoch to serve as rewards. So 0.22 is the value we will start mainnet with. And then again, you see the same breakdown. And now, of course, you can play with these things. For example, you can see what happens if the pledge is higher, for example. So if that is 10 times higher, you see that your rewards go up a bit, but not by very much. Or what happens if the Treasury is lower, if only gets 1%. In that case, rewards go up quite significantly. So it's important to remember that all these values, even though we have published now the initial ones we suggest to start with, can always be changed. So after the system has run for a while, we can discuss with the community whether some of these values should be changed and in which direction they should be changed.